There is a great misperception that to become your best self and live your best life and to walk the path that you came here into life to live is somehow about becoming more and becoming better and expanding yourself. And the irony is that for you to live your best life and be your best self and live the life that you came here to live, that you incarnated to live, is actually kind of the opposite of that. It's actually about undoing, letting go, losing all the aspects of yourself that are not the ultimate truth of your soul. And so as we go out into the world and we are conditioned to be more, get more, do more, expand, the irony is it just carries us further away from truly finding ourselves, truly finding the core authentic self, the soul self, the self that has all the power, the self that has the innate gifts that we're here to contribute, the self that knows its purpose. And I could have titled this episode Losing Yourself instead of titling this episode Finding Yourself, and both titles would adequately serve this conversation because they are the two sides of one coin. In order to find yourself, capital S, you need to be willing to lose yourself, little s. That means to find your true, authentic, soulful self, the pure you that you were born to be, means letting go of and losing all of the aspects of the small human self, the accumulated self, that are not that. And when someone says to me, I feel like I've lost myself, I've lost my way, I've lost parts of myself, I don't know what path is mine, I don't know who I am, I'm like, well, let's celebrate, because losing yourself is the ultimate path to actually finding yourself. And if you are concretely attached to thinking you know who you are, the chances are, unless you've been on a deep spiritual journey, you don't. And it's the attachment to thinking you know who you are that will prevent you from ever knowing who you are. It's this really weird, mind-bending thing that we go through. So if you're willing to lose yourself, and there's nothing scary about it, it's very gentle and very beautiful, then you are absolutely going to find your true self.
You're listening to Practical Spirituality with B, the podcast with spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic. I'm Bernadette Logue. You can call me B, and I'm excited to share this episode with you.
So I'm going to tell you a story, and I want you to listen to the story, and I want you to feel what it would be like to be the person in this story. So really listen to the words and really feel the weight of the words that you're hearing, because this story is an analogy for our lives. So a little baby is born, and when the baby is born, they put a nappy on the baby, and then they put a little onesie on the baby, you know, one of those little baby jumpsuits, so cute. And then they strap to that baby a little name bracelet in the hospital, and they put the name of the baby on it so that everybody knows who this baby is, who this baby belongs to, and what its label is, also known as a name. Then they make a paper document and they declare to the world that this baby belongs to these people, this is its name, this is all the identifying characteristics, and this is the society it belongs to. And before we go further in the story, let's just remember that this baby is actually a soul that belongs to no one. that belongs everywhere, that is unnameable, and that is free of the bounds of any restrictions, any language, any limitations. And it has chosen to incarnate into this thing that we call 3D reality, planet Earth, life as a human being, to have an evolutionary experience as a soul on a journey. But that is quickly forgotten because now it's in a body and it has a little bracelet on and it has its little cute onesie on. And then as the baby grows up, they put, a little pair of trousers on the baby. They put a jacket on the baby. Then they put shoes on the baby. Then they give the baby all these various items that the baby needs to have, like a pacifier, a little dummy, a milk bottle. They give the baby other clothes. They give the baby all the things to help the baby grow up and to live its life in this world. And as the baby grows older, I want you to imagine that they then put a coat on the baby and then they put a hat on the baby. Remember, the baby is now a toddler. The baby is now a school-aged child. Now it's a teenager or a young adult. Let's say in the story that they put a helmet on the person. Now it's an adult. Maybe they put gloves on the person. And now they say, here's a bag, and here's a bag you're going to carry around for your life. And in this bag, we're going to place a whole lot of heavy bricks. And those bricks are the weight of your family expectations. They are the bricks of society's norms that you must fit into now, sweet spirit, because now you're here in the world, you have to conform. And once that bag is filled with bricks and you've got a heavy helmet on your head and you've got gloves on, a jacket on, you've got boots on, you've got pants on, you're carrying quite a lot of luggage and quite a lot of layers of things that you now have to wear upon your body that contains your sweet little spirit. And then you're a young adult and you're out in the world and you're trying to make your way. And you now have some suitcases to carry. You have one in each hand, and inside those suitcases are all the things that people have told you about who you are and who you are not, what you can do and what you cannot, what you should do and what you should not. You also have in those suitcases all of the experiences and the events of your life and all the things you've been educated in, and all the things that your mind made up about all of those things, about who you are and your worth and your value and how to get by in this world. And next, walking around as an adult now, carrying all of this, now you get to wear some badges. So people start pinning badges on your chest and you start pinning badges on your chest. And those badges look like, my name is X, this is the job I do, I'm a sister, brother, mother, father, daughter, son, I'm a cousin, I'm a whatever. I do this job, I do that job, this is my education, these are my grades, and this therefore says what I'm worth and what I'm not worth. And here is what I own, and here is how much money I make, and all the identifying factors and features that start to form an identity. Now you can say, I am this, I am that. You can give a whole biography to describe who you are. For most people, this is seen as, if you're not on a spiritual journey or a consciousness journey, as just normal, right? It's normal life. And in this normal life, you are forming an identity that you call yourself. And you might think at some level that you have found, created, and know yourself. Ironically, what's happening is you're losing your true self in this journey, the soul journey through life, through all of these various stages of arriving into the world, coming through the conditioning process of our family and society and what our mind makes up and all our beliefs and all the challenges that we try to go through on our journey to figure out who we are. The irony is we think we're going into the world and we're finding who we are. We're actually losing who we are because we're gathering so much baggage that we start to pocket away all the true parts of ourselves. We start to become so disconnected from our deep intuition and our beautiful soulful gifts and our true gentle soft sweet center that we're walking around in the world with all of this luggage and this baggage and this clothing and these labels and these badges that we might think define who we are. And what they do is they define our human self. They define our personality self, or what I call the small self. But they in no way reflect the true authentic self, the soul self, that is completely free of the bounds of any of this. Now, as an adult carrying around all of this baggage and conditioning and all of this identity, thinking we have found ourselves and we've made it and we've arrived in this world, we have a choice of two paths to walk. One is we stay asleep inside the dream of life, inside that conditioning, and we will absolutely experience some of the challenges of that when it starts to arise as existential crisis, depression, anxiety, feeling adrift, trying to prove ourselves, trying to validate ourselves, not being able to deal with loss and grief because we don't know who we are, not feeling fulfilled because we don't have any soulful purpose, or magic because we don't know who we are. Or we can wake up inside the dream of life. We can wake up to our true nature, who we are as souls on a journey, and we can start to find the authentic self. And what happens is when you wake up on this planet to who you really are, and you find your authentic self, you're still walking around in the world and you're still living in this reality with everybody else, but you are operating at an expanded level of consciousness. And you are coming from your authentic soul self in your thought processes, your beliefs, your feelings, your goals, your values, your priorities, your choices, what you do for a living, how you make your money, the way you interact with other people, the way you manage your resources, your relationships, your lifestyle, how you walk in the world becomes different. Now, there is no right, wrong, there is no good, bad, there is no judgment on any path. But if the path asleep inside the dream and feeling like you've lost yourself isn't working for you, and you want something more authentic, more fulfilling, more purposeful, and more magical than where you stand, then you're in the right place. And believe me, there are people that can live their lives without any spiritual dimension and without any consciousness awakening, and can have beautiful lives. There is no right or wrong path. But some of us, for some reason, have been incarnated on a journey where we are meant to, where we are destined to, where life is going to permanently call us to wake inside the dream, to lose the false self, to find the true self. Now, when it comes to finding yourself, and that can mean reclaiming lost parts of yourself, or maybe you never even feel like you knew any part of yourself and you didn't feel like you lost anything, you just don't know who you are. Maybe you feel like you abandoned or suppressed certain parts of your expression. Maybe you're having existential questions. Maybe you've realized you've been living for other people, people pleasing, trying to validate through other people. And you are ready to know who you really are at the deepest level and to align your life to that, to be free. Then what is required to do that is a willingness to let go of everything that is not you. There is nothing you need to get. There is nothing you're missing. There is nothing out there in the world that is going to complete you as a missing part of yourself. No person, no relationship, no job, no success, no recognition, no nothing is going to help you find yourself, is going to help you feel complete, because you are complete and full and fulfilled at a soul self level. What's happening is when you feel lost and you feel like you've lost parts of yourself, is that you're carrying around all that baggage I talked about that doesn't belong to you. And when you strip it away, what's left is your pure divinity, your absolute clear intuition, your total knowingness of what's important to you, what your real values are, what your soul came here to do in this life, how you want to live, the freedom to be, your beautiful self-expression. It's all there. It can be just buried so far down under that baggage that you feel like you don't know who you are because you've never been connected to it because of all the noise of everything else. or it's been suppressed and pocketed away in those early years because you were basically aligning to identities and conditioning and what others said to you and all the baggage. So this whole journey of finding yourself, this is my jam. This is what I love. This is what I've done for myself. And this is what I've helped a lot of other people do. And this is what we do in my Soul Odyssey program. This is what I do when I'm doing coaching and mentoring with people one-on-one. And a good starting point, if this interests you, is to grab my book, Your Soul Journey Simplified. You'll find a link with this episode that you can go and grab that on my website. It's $5. It comes with in-depth coaching videos to guide you through it. But for those that are really serious about, you know what, like I want to be awake inside the stream of life. I want to live my soul-aligned life. I want to know who I really am and what I'm really about. And I want to live free. Then definitely go to my website, bernadettelogue.com, and look at the Soul Odyssey program, which is open. We're ready to welcome you in. It has everything you need from A to Z to bring you awake inside the dream and have you find your true self. But more than that, to know how to align yourself and your life with that truth, like practically, like goals, values, priorities, every area of your life. And in there are two fundamental things that I created over the last 10 years, which I've kind of already alluded to in this episode with you. And that is mastering your mind, which is freeing yourself of all the limitations inside your psyche and your mental construct of who you think you are, which is the baggage that we pick up. It's all of that conditioning and identities and labels and making up our mind about who we are and what the world is that happens before we're old enough to really make up our mind for ourselves in a conscious way. So that is a stripping away and a letting go of all of that mental noise to bring you home to the divine true nature of who you are. And the second part, that's another module inside the Soul Odyssey program, is what I call the Great Undoing. And the Great Undoing is what we're talking about here, which is losing yourself to find yourself. It's letting go of everything that is not you in order to discover what is true about you and to align yourself with that. And I think perhaps it may feel very confronting, this idea of losing yourself. Like, I don't want to lose myself. Like, I've only just kind of figured some things out about life. Please don't make me lose myself. But for me and for clients I've worked with and people in my program, it is the most liberating thing ever to lose yourself, because you're never going to lose the true you. You're only going to lose all the stuff that you really, really, really don't need. And you're never asked to completely let go of everything. You're just asked to loosen your grip. Because as long as you're constantly and concretely gripping onto who you think you are, what you think you need, and what you must have, as long as you do that, life will just go, okay, that's what you want. That's your free will choice. So we're not going to show you any truth beyond that. But the second you say, I'm willing to know the truth, it's astounding what life will reveal to you. It's astounding what will come into your awareness to show you the more magnificent, expanded and higher version of yourself in reality. But it cannot happen if you are not willing to just loosen up your grip a little, to discover more about what is actually true and real in life. The more concretely we attach, the less we will learn, the less we will know, and the less free that we will become. It reminds me of this great quote that one of my soul sisters always shares, and that is a quote from Albert Camus, which says, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion." You think about that. Think about the world that you're in and the structures and the rigidity and the regulations and the rules and the norms and the expectations and the controls that are placed on beautiful beings, just beautiful free spirits that we really are. And even on Mother Nature. right? And creatures and animals and all the different beautiful expressions of oneness, of divinity, God, creator, universe, the world is in many respects very unfree in a practical sense. And so it is absolutely an act of liberation and an act of rebellion to free yourself, to become so free that your very existence is a rebellion to the unfreeness you see around you. And a lot of people who are interested in their spiritual path or their faith path even, and are very interested in the expansion of their consciousness, are very aware of this, are very aware that they're walking around in a world which would seek to cage your freedom. And this is not any, have on modern day society, or that you shouldn't, fit in and do all the things that need to be done to live in a organized world. It's not about that. It's just saying, if you don't feel totally free to be your full expression, something is not right. And your job is to right that. And the way you'll do that is not to go out in the world and to resist and judge anything that cages your freedom, but to realize that you are the one to free yourself. And the way you will do that is to know your true self with a capital S, your soul self. To know that self, you have to find that self. To find that self, you have to lose everything that is not that. So, how do I lose all of that? You start to question. Why do I do the things I do? Why am I adhering to these norms? Why am I so worried about what other people think of me? What is the true me? What does the soulful me need? What is the expression that I am withholding? What have I been suppressing? What are the lost parts of myself? What in my life, in my mind, in my emotions, and in my lifestyle and situation feels heavy? What am I carrying that is akin to the luggage, the baggage, the badges, all of the weighty things that we talked about earlier? What is all the baggage that I am carrying that is not me, that leads me to not be free, that if I let go of it, underneath, I would finally discover the true soulful self? Because the self of the soul that incarnated has purpose, very clear and very loud intuition, knows exactly what they're here for, knows exactly what they want to do, has passion, inspiration, and intuition, has soul lessons that they are here to learn, is ready to self-express, is not to be caged by anyone or anything, is not seeking validation, does not need approval, is ready to express in the fullest form. And when you do, there will be lightness, brightness, freedom, purpose, fulfillment, and magic. And so think about yourself at these levels: your consciousness, your mind, your emotions, your physical body, your values, priorities, goals, and your lifestyle, and anything that feels heavy and constricting. Just question for a moment, what if I were to let it go? What would be left if I let those things go? And it's really interesting because I've been doing this coaching for over a decade in my programs and in my one-on-one coaching and in groups. And I've heard a lot of times people say, I don't know if I can let go of all of that because I don't know who I would be. That is the point. That is the point. The second you say that, you are right on track. Because when you realize that you're clinging on to things that you really don't need and that really don't make any difference, and in fact actually are probably quite weighty and baggage and cumbersome, just so that you can have certainty and it doesn't even feel good, is the moment you know that you are ready to let go. And when you let go and you lose yourself and you're like, I don't know who I am, is the only time when you can discover who you are, because the certainty of the old is gone. And the freedom and expanse of the uncertainty is where all the possibilities and truth exist for you to discover. So just think about it. Of course, if you are certain of something, then nothing else can be true, right? If you are certain that the sky is blue, then it can be no other color. If you are certain that today is Monday, then that can't be any other day. If you are certain of who you are, then there can be no other truth for you. There can be no discovery. Life cannot reveal to you. Your soul cannot speak to you because you've made up your mind. And so it does take a willingness to lose all the parts of yourself that you don't need, that are weighty and cumbersome, that don't do you any favors, in order to stand in a I don't know who I am, in order to find your true self, right? If any part of you finds this curious and feels like there's something there for me, like I have lost parts of myself that I want to reclaim, I want to go through the ultimate reclamation of my full self, or any part of you that thinks, I wonder if there is a more authentic, true soul self that wants to emerge, trust your intuition. And I really warmly encourage you to come and connect with me on my website. You can reach out to me on email, support@bernadettelogue.com, and I will reply. You can come into the Soul Odyssey program with me and we can immediately start connecting and coaching in there. Because this is what we do. This is what we do. And everything you need to free your consciousness, to free your mind, to free your emotional state, to free your body, to free your goals, your values, your priorities, your lifestyle, into finding your own truth, your absolute truth, and living from that place. Everything is in there ready and waiting for you. And by the way, it's nobody else's job to tell you who you are, because no one else can do that for you. It can only be that you are pointed to your truth, because your soul is in there and it is just beckoning and asking and nudging for you to fully see the true, authentic self you are and for you to step into it. But it's entirely your choice if you want to do that. So I hope this episode has stirred in you a curiosity to edge ever closer into your most authentic, soulful self. It is entirely possible to let go of every single thing that does not feel good to you. I've been doing it my 20-something plus years. I've gone through many parts of my own spiritual journey where I've completely and utterly lost myself and found my true self in several different spiritual awakenings that went for different periods of time and stepped me in different levels of consciousness. And it's a beautiful and liberating experience, and I've helped many people do it. I warmly welcome you to reach out. If you're interested, again, you can go to bernadettelogue.com.
Thanks for listening to Practical Spirituality with B. I'll talk to you next episode for more spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic.